People, Deluded, I'm back again. I apologise for being that guy, but we kind of have to go over the same thing. Now, I'm not going to go over the exact same things in relation to Willian. If you want to hear my other thoughts or thoughts that you might think have gone over your head or I haven't thought of or whatever, please check out my other video, my previous vid. Stuff has moved on, and as you know, the circus that is Willian's future is still ongoing. He's been linked with MLS. Apparently, he's got more important offers from English clubs, but he wants to sign for us because he believes in the project, as well as obviously having a Brazilian contingent here with Luis and Martinelli and South Americans like Martinez, and I forgot Marie, and also Edu in the background, as well as London. You know, he's been linked with Spurs, he's been linked with Barca, he's actually been linked with Juventus, City and United. And I know United fans must be laughing. You've gone from being linked with Willian to obviously Jadon Sancho and things like that. But in an Arsenal perspective, if Willian does sign, I'm prepared to give him a chance. You know, I'm not going to bash him just because I don't get behind it. I do concede there is an element of, now you look at Cedric Suarez, Aubameyang is just a quality player, so to a degree he's irrelevant. And Willian, if he does come in, as much as we've got young players and we need resale value, we kind of need players for now to immediately help us, in which in an ideal world would be getting into the top 4 next season. You know, I just don't agree with it, because I think when you've got a player like Aubameyang, by all means, he's an exception to the rule. If I was a manager, within the means, I don't want to give a 30-year-old anything more than, in an ideal world, a 1-year deal with an option of another, or a 2-year. I don't want to give a free. I give Aubameyang a free because I think his ability and his output and how he looks after himself outweighs his age and all these other potential factors that come with that. Willian looks like he looks after himself and he had a decent season. I just think, you know, with all due respect to him, he's a decent player. I just feel, for want of better words, it's mediocre. It's top wages, or it's a top outlay within reason for a mediocre player, or a player that's going to return mediocre sort of stuff. You know, stats don't even mean anything all the time. So if he's going to play well, he has all my support. But it is what it is. And what I'm prepared to concede is, if Arteta wants him, that's what you've heard. You've also heard Marie's what was wanted by Arteta. Now, I'm not criticising both players or the manager. I'm just looking at it. Arteta's a head coach. Arsenal don't have a whole heap of money. So there's probably going to be many scenarios where he's given a list like this to people and he says, look, boom, you've got several targets here. Then Arsenal, Raul Sancho might say, boy, you know, we tried him, wages too much, agent fees too much, can't agree fee with this club. And we've got down to our 5th or so choice. We've got Willian, he's experienced, you know, he's South American, that's like a couple of others. He knows the league and all of this sort of stuff. Do you want him? Arteta might say, yo, alright, cool, boom, bring him. Because that's to a degree what Arteta has to work with. Emery wanted Nzonzi and Partey, he got Torreira. There's thing, you know, you still got to be able to coach without having your first choice targets, but it is a thing, people. Do you get it? So I'm very weary of what they say when they say Arteta sanctioned it or Arteta wants him to a degree. I do believe Arteta wants him, but there is within the current dynamics to consider sort of thing. And for me, I believe in Arteta, so I'm prepared to put my personal opinion on Willian, or if I believe we should sign him aside, because part of believing in the manager, he might, you know, Willian might not bang. Willian might not bang, and then we can sit here and say, I told you so. This is why I'm hoping Willian is good for us, because it shuts up. If Arteta wants him, managers make mistakes, but it's your head it's your hands that have to be held up. The same goal for the backroom staff, because they're going to have to justify giving this 31-year-old turning 32-year-old a 3-year deal with a alleged option of a 4th, on top of paying out 20 million on Mesut Ozil's wages, on top of somehow finding the resources to commit Aubameyang and do all other the things. They're going to have to find ways to justify this, because it will have consequences. Part of believing in someone is always sometimes believing in something that, believing in things they believe in that you don't believe in, if that makes sense. So I'm prepared to, you know, I can't always sit here and say I believe in Arteta because he plays attacking football and stuff. He's going to make difficult decisions, or decisions I don't agree with. But I believe in him. He knows more football than me, so I'm prepared to give him that. If Willian don't bang, or if Willian is what a lot of us expect, we sit here and we speak about it. But I'm prepared to give, if Arteta does genuinely want him and is behind that and has sanctioned it, I'm prepared to concede that, you know, because like I said, part of believing in someone is to believe in elements you can't always see. You know, I can see what he's doing with the young players. I can see what he's doing with the goals we're scoring, playing out from the back. I can't see the benefit of, with the immediate benefit of Willian signing, or wanting Luis to sign an extension. I can't see that, but you know, let's see. Hopefully these things are justified. But for what it's worth, you know, Ornstein's reported, you know, Arteta wants to sign Willian and has asked him to be signed. He sees him as someone who could bring experience, winning mentality, and help him mentor the youth. And to be fair, man, you know, with respect, you know, he does bring that. but we've heard that with David Luiz, you know, experience, winning mentality and mentored in the youth, and to a degree Luiz has followed through with all of those things. You know, I know for a fact he's a big character on and off the field in a positive sense, but at the same time none of that really matters, because we've got enough experienced players, enough players who have done several things and been around the block, and we sit here and say the same thing. So I don't think that's really a justification, really and truly. Yeah, Saka and Nelson can get tips at London Coley at training, but I don't see how, you know, what's going to happen. Ornstein also said that the signing of Willian is very much led by Arteta, and he has specifically asked for the player to be signed. Arsenal by far not offered the most lucrative contract, but seemed to be his preference due to Arteta and knowing Edu. So obviously knowing Edu through the technical setup at Brazil helps. Obviously when you've got a manager that seems, if we go on this, Arteta is hell-bent on him, you know, if his enthusiasm for you coming is the best, then he might, you know, you might concede financial rewards that you might get elsewhere, because you know you're going to be an important part of the team. You know, you've got David Luiz probably in your ear as well, who's a close friend and former teammate at international as well as obviously club level. So this is probably reasons as to why he's on it. The London factor is probably the big thing. Apparently, for what it's worth, Arsenal are hopeful of getting Willian over the line. Apparently, people are being told the big part of his appeal is his experience, as you don't know, and we have a lot of young players, and his signing is primarily to enable addressing the age balance, which you obviously seen the signing of David Luiz last year, Paulo Marie in January, apologies, and also Cedric Suarez to accompany in Fury Williams. Apparently, you know, people have gone on to say that Willian is still confident of a significant rise on his current 120 per week wages, and we do know apparently he had one pre-corona offer from Arsenal, now it's a post-game, so we'll have to see. But all I've got to say is that the manager, the club, they've got to justify these moves, and he has to hit the ground running. Like, Willian has to hit the ground running, you know. He has to, or there's no real way to justify this, really and truly. Away from that, though, apparently Reims and Monaco have come to an agreement over an alleged Arsenal target, Axel Disasi. You know, Monaco's a good offer for him. He goes there, stay in his league, stay in his country, further develop. Monaco have a selling model. That's something he could probably do in the future. With that being said, I know they've got, what's his name, Benoit Benash, I can't say his name, but the youngster, he's a centre half. This might be a knock-on effect. He's been linked with Manchester United. Monaco might concede, let's sell him now. But I'm going off topic, people. In fact, one last thing. Allegedly, we want to sign Josh De Silva back from Brentford, which would be quite the signing. As you lot know, he left for a free transfer to Brentford. He was offered a new deal, probably didn't see a pathway, and it's been backed up. You know, today they're actually playing against Fulham, and he could potentially gain promotion to the Premier League and play in the Premier League, which shows his moves backed up. Arsenal instantly, with his free transfer, lost 15-20 million minimum. Personally, I think he'd have a fairer crack at this team than Joe Willock. With all due respect to Joe, I think he's got ability. I really like Josh. I'm not getting at Joe with that. Between letting Josh go for free and obviously letting Benatia, who had 3 years left on his contract at the time, leave to go to Empoli for 90,000, who's now at AC Milan, as well as Gnabry, our club makes some dodgy decisions. But for what it's worth, apparently he's one of the players where allegedly scouting have had a look at. He's obviously recorded prior to his game tonight 10 goals, 4 assists in 42 games since last season. And you know, he's got a solid grounding in the Championship, and he's ready to make the step up and things. And we owe it to us. Again, everybody's looking at everyone. This might just be we've scouted him just to keep in the loop. So we'll have to see, people. But you know, I wouldn't mind him returning at all, people. It'd be something I'm all up for, really and truly. Elsewhere, you've heard Martinez is allegedly in line for a new deal. Well deserved. Got a year left on, 2 years left, 2022. Protect our resale value. Reward his sort of upgraded stature in the team. He's well deserved with that, and I think when you compare him and Leno, I think it's close. I still think Leno's the better keeper, but I think Martinez is more my sort of keeper. I think the first one would be Martinez. What I like is he likes to catch rather than punch. Leno is very eccentric, and it does put my mind at doesn't put my mind at ease. He likes to rush off his line, you know, he likes the ball playing stuff. I like Martinez because Martinez recognises he has to do the ball playing thing, but he hasn't got that cockiness Leno has. Martinez is kind of aware of what he can and can't do, in the same way Callum Chambers. One thing I like about him at centre half, he might not be the best, but he knows, you know, what's above his pay grade and not. And Leno doesn't always know that. I think Martinez does. He knows he can do 1-2 little mad passes, but he keeps it true. I think he's definitely better collecting crosses as well. and he's deserving of his new deal. Like, we'll never know if he's going to be the first choice for Arsenal. We should back it, give him a new deal, because if he says I want to leave, because I don't know if Leno or be second choice again, if that's what Arteta says, we stand in a way to make a decent few bob on him. It's that simple. So I wouldn't mind it, really and truly, man. I think Martinez deserves it. He ended the season with the Premier League's highest per 90-minute differential between the expected goals an average goalkeeper would have conceded and the number he actually let in. His post-shot expected goals minus goals allowed per 90 was 0.49, which is basically every 2 games Arsenal played with Martinez in goal, Arteta's side conceded one less than they would have with a league average goalkeeper between the posts, which is unfair. Leno's played less games in the period. Obviously, the sample net or the sample pool from the games Martinez has played, he's played less. He's going to have favourable stats. And I think one concerning thing is something that's on Arteta to fix is between Leno and Martinez, about to call him Martinez, they both ensured that Arsenal goalies made more saves, 143, than any other team in the Premier League last season, with a higher save percentage of 78.3. And, it shows how good both keepers are. Both keepers, are worth their weight in gold. But at the same time, the correlation between the shots saved and clean sheets ain't there. We're up there for shots on target. We're up there for conceding goals. We're up there for dropping goal leads and dropping points. We're not up there for clean sheets. So, our goalies, whether it's Martinez or Leno, can only do so much, really and truly. They can only do so much. But I think both are good keepers. It's a decision for Arteta. I think Martinez, if he is given a new deal, is fully deserved of that. So we'll have to see what happens, man. But for now, people, DG, I'm out as usual. It's always a pleasure speaking.